All right. What's up, everybody? My people in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, all the way to Staten Island, my home bro, Brooklyn. Back at another video, and this is going to be an entry into the series I started a long time ago called Super Bowl Performances, where I cover the greatest players in NFL history and their performances on pro football's biggest stage. Super Bowl week is here. I'm so excited. For all you've been watching my channel long enough, you know this is my favorite time of the sports year. I'm so excited. I can't wait for the big game on Sunday. Okay, but let's go back in history. Let's look at two of the greatest Super Bowl performances of all time, and that's from Reggie White, the late great Reggie White, God bless his soul, and Brett Favre, and their performance in Super Bowl 31, the Super Bowl 31 victory over the New England Patriots. But first, a little backdrop on these two guys. They came a long way to reach this point. Two guys from small towns in Tennessee, Reggie, and Mississippi, Brett Favre, to the Green Bay Packers in pro football's ultimate stage. Brett Favre was a second-round pick of the Atlanta Falcons in 1991, and in his first ever pass attempt in the NFL, it was a pick six against the Washington Redskins. After that, Brett Favre went back to the bench where he spent the rest of the season for the 91 Falcons. That Falcons team that had Deion Sanders and Andre Rison, where he met Andre Rison again. After this 91 season, Brett Favre was traded to the Green Bay Packers, where he was the backup to number 7, Don Majkowski, a.k.a. the Magic Man. In 1992, in a regular season game at Lambeau Field against the Cincinnati Bengals, Don Majkowski, he got injured, and Brett Favre came in and led the Packers on a comeback victory over the Bengals, and Don Majkowski never saw his job again. He got Wally pipped. For all you don't know who Wally Pipp is, he's a guy who played for the Yankees way back in the day. Way back in the day. He missed a game because he had a headache, and his replacement was a guy named Lou Gehrig. And let's just say, Wally Pipp never got his job back. Okay? Because the Packers have found their guy, their next franchise quarterback, which they hadn't had since Bart Starr retired, I believe, after the 1972 seasons when Bart Starr retired. After 72. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comment section down below. What was Bart Starr's last season playing? But the Packers have finally found their guy, Brett Favre. Now to Reggie White. Reggie White spent his first year in professional football in the USFL playing for the Memphis Showboats. After that, he went to play for the Philadelphia Eagles. And in 1987, Reggie White had probably the greatest season a pass rushers ever had in NFL history. The man recorded 21 sacks in 12 games. Think about that. The man had 21 sacks in 12 games. That is incredible. And that's only after a year after Lawrence Taylor's legendary season in 86. Reggie, there's no question he's a Mount Rushmore defensive player. This is probably the greatest defensive season ever. 21 sacks in 12 games, just unbelievable to me. But, Reggie also had help on the defense. He had, of course, Jerome J. Boogie Brown from the U. He had Clyde Simmons, and he had Seth Joyner. The Eagles had a mean, vicious defense known as Gang Green, led by Buddy Ryan, who led the legendary 85 Bears defense. In 1991, the Eagles had their best defensive season, Only the 2000 Ravens had a better run defense. Only the 02 Buccaneers, sorry about that. Only the 02 Buccaneers had a better pass defense. But unlike those two teams, the 91 Eagles didn't win the Super Bowl because their starter, Randall Cunningham, got hurt. After the 1991 season, Jerome Brown passed away in a car accident, and the motto for the 92 season was "Bring it home for Jerome." Well, unfortunately, they didn't. They lost in the divisional round to their division rival, the Dallas Cowboys. And after that, Reggie's time in Philadelphia came to end. He hit free agency, and after going to meetings with the Falcons, Browns, and Redskins, Reggie settled on the Green Bay Packers. You see, Mike Holmgren, the Packers head coach, to Reggie's right, left of the screen, and Ron Wolf, the Hall of Fame GM, to Reggie's left, but the right of the screen, one standing up with his hand on Reggie's shoulder. Reggie signing with Green Bay shook up the NFL because he was leaving Philadelphia, which I believe is the 5th biggest market in the country, to Green Bay, Wisconsin. And that was a big deal back then. For a superstar of that magnitude to leave one big market, people think he would go to L.A. or New York or Miami or one of those big markets or sexy cities. But he settled for Green Bay, Wisconsin. And it wasn't the Packers under Lombardi, title town. This was a different kind of Packers. But Reggie chose them, and he balled out. In 93, he played like his regular dominant self, and Brett Favre continued to get better. They won a playoff game that year, defeating the Detroit Lions when Sterling Sharp caught a game-winning touchdown. but they lost in the second round, the subsequent round. Okay, they advanced to the NFC Championship game in 1995 where they lost to the Dallas Cowboys. So 96, they were going all in. They were hell-bent on winning a championship. And I did a video on the 96 Packers a long time ago for the Greatest Team Ever series. I'll put a link to that in the description down below. They became the first team since the 72 Dolphins to have the number one total offense and number one total defense in the entire NFL. In the NFC Championship game, they defeated the Carolina Panthers to advance to the Super Bowl, the first time the Packers have been to the Super Bowl since Super Bowl II. And thanks to these two cats right here, Brett Favre and Reggie White. And on pro football's biggest stage, they balled out. Brett Favre threw an early touchdown to Andre Rison. And you see him running around the field with his helmet off. You know, that was the kid in Brett Favre. That's what John Madden said. Look at Brett Favre. The kid in him never left him. He's like a grown kid out there playing football. All the stuff John Madden said in the game when Brett Favre would play. Brett Favre finished the game with 2 passing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, 14-27 completion and attempts, and 246 yards. Reggie White, on the other hand, meanwhile, dominated on the defensive end, recording 3 sacks on Patriots quarterback, Drew Bledsoe. 3 sacks is the Super Bowl record, and it, in a sense, been tied. You know, Darnell Dockett of the Cardinals had 3 sacks when they lost to Pittsburgh. Coney Ely of Carolina had 3 sacks when they lost to Denver. Grady Jarrett of Atlanta had 3 sacks when they lost to New England. So Reggie White's the only guy to do it and have it result in a victory. But, you know, you'd think one of Brett Favre or Reggie White would get Super Bowl MVP. Nope. The MVP was the kick returner, Desmond Howard. You know, had a 99-yard kickoff return for a touchdown that cemented the victory for the Packers. So, you know, would I have given it to Desmond Howard? No. Personally, I would have given it to Reggie just because that was a Super Bowl record. But, hey, it is what it is. I'm sure Brett Favre and Reggie didn't care, because they were Super Bowl champions. You know, Reggie, after 11 years in the NFL, was finally on top. You know, he wanted to do it in Philly, but unfortunately, God had different plans for him. And he ended up doing it in Green Bay. Brett Favre, Super Bowl champion. You see Reggie White running around the Superdome with the Vince Lombardi trophy in his hand. Now, guys, tell me in the comment section down below, who do you think you would have gave the MVP to? Would you give it to Brett Favre? Would you give it to Reggie White? Or you think the guy to right with Desmond Howard? Let me know. Don't forget to click the like button, subscribe, help a young brother grow on YouTube. I'm going to see you all.